Well, hello and welcome back to Series 3 of our lectures on marketing research. My name is Sean Jordan and I'm an instructor at Southern Illinois University at Edwardsville School of Business, and I'm also a full-time professional marketing researcher at the Research and Planning Group in St. Louis, Missouri, where I serve as the research director. And what we're going to be talking about this week in this series of lectures are the styles of marketing research that you can conduct, and those styles are generally called exploratory, descriptive, and causal research. Now, before we begin talking about those, I just want you to think for a moment about what it's like to build a piece of furniture for your house. And let's think specifically about a bookshelf, because that's something that I think we all can kind of relate to. It's not a real hard piece of furniture to build, but it's something that most houses have. So a bookshelf is generally just a few slats of wood that are put together in a configuration that allows you to hold books. Pretty easy to build. But if you're not very handy, like me, you generally are going to need a little bit more than just some wood in order to put a bookshelf together. For one thing, what you're going to need is some wood that's cut into pieces that you can actually use for a bookshelf. I often have to go out and buy kits, that I can use to assemble bookshelves, kits that already have a lot of the details done. All I have to do is follow the instructions and put them together. But let's say that you're a little more handy than I am. What you would generally do first is you would go out and get your wood. You would go out and get your wood from maybe a forest where you would cut down a tree. And in that forest, there's going to be way more trees than you could ever use or would ever need to use just to build furniture for your house. You're just going to have to pick a tree, make sure it's the right kind of wood that you want, and then cut it down, shape it into the wood that you need for your bookshelf. Those trees, that forest, is very similar to the sheer amount of data that are available for us as marketing researchers to go out and extract from the world around us. There's a lot more information than we ever could hope to be able to use as researchers, and so we have to kind of be picky and choosy about where we're going and what we're looking for. We have to make sure we're getting the right kind of wood from the right kind of tree, and it's the right sort of quality in order to be useful to us. So, assuming that we've made that decision, the next thing that we're going to need are some instructions. And for me, this is vital because I don't know how to just fashion a bookshelf out of wood. I need instructions that I've gotten from someone else that can tell me how to do it. I'm also going to need some things to fasten my bookshelf together. I'm also going to need some tools to use those fasteners. And I'm going to need some things to put in cosmetic details like varnish or paint or even some maybe faux back paneling that I can put on the back of my bookshelf to make it look like it goes a little bit deeper than it really does. I'm going to need all of these things. And all of these things are analogous to the different steps of the research process that we're going to go through. And what we're talking about today, exploratory, descriptive, and causal research, is really analogous to the instructions that we're going to put together, or that we're going to use to put together our bookshelf. So as you're thinking about these three styles of research as I'm talking about them, think about them as being kind of the framework for everything else we're going to do. We don't have a bookshelf when we have instructions, but we have an idea of what the bookshelf is going to look like. And that's really what we use these three terms to help us to understand. Now, one more caveat before I begin. I want you to understand that exploratory, descriptive, and causal are categories of research projects. And categories are always very dangerous because there are a lot of things that don't fit into just one category. There are things that favor a category, but they're not always able to fit exactly into one category. And so there are research projects that have elements of 2 or 3 of these styles of research that we're going to talk about. But most tend to favor one of them. So most projects can be described as primarily exploratory or primarily descriptive or primarily causal. And so as we're thinking about the types of research you can do, I want you to also think about studies that you might have encountered or you might have read or that you might be reading as part of this class. And try to understand, are they exploratory, descriptive, or causal? It might just help you to understand them a little bit better and what their purposes are for. So with that said, on to the series.